Hello, guys. Welcome to the second episode of the Average NBA Fans podcast. In this particular podcast, we will be discussing the games that happened last night. It was a crazy night in the NBA. We're having very close games. So stay tuned with us. And in the end, we'll also talk about our predictions. And in the middle of the whole podcast, we'll also discuss about our predictions that we made in the last game, in the last podcast. And let's see who turns out to be the person who guess the most correct guesses for the games. So, guys, diving straight right into the podcast, talking about the first game, the Lakers Grizzlies game. I mean, I was
Oof,
particularly
what
expecting
a
Lakers.
game.
I was not expecting Lakers to win. I thought Lakers would probably take it to Game 6. I thought Lakers will drop with this one and probably win the next two. But it was an amazing game. I mean, a lot of things happening. It was a good start, and in AD was not performing as well as he should have. But Austin Reeves stepping up, being the highest scorer, and also LeBron scoring 20 rebounds for the first time in his career. I mean, that man's career is so long, and he's still making history to the day. I mean, that's absolutely crazy. Lakers winning the game in the OT. The LeBron James forcing OT. Too much happening in the game. What's your take on the game?
Angad,
Man,
you
it
take
was a
this one.
sure, man.
The
Man, it was
resident
really good.
Laker, LeBron fan, the biggest one
Yeah.
in a way, I think.
No,
After
but
Draymond
seriously,
Green.
for sure, Draymond Green, I cannot compete with Draymond Green, but for sure, this was a crazy game. Lakers going up like almost 15 points. They had a lead over 15 points in the second quarter, and I thought that, all right, this game is in the bag. After 5 games, I finally have a good prediction in my hands. We're going to go into our previous predictions later on, but I was really happy with the Lakers, and then I don't know what happened, but Bane switched it up, man. Bane was killing us in the second quarter. We ended the quarter on a 14-1 losing run, and we were just up 2 points, and then again, I think, flailing around and got a lot of foul calls. I think you can see in the box score, I think Lakers, disregarding the garbage time foul free throws, I think Lakers still had like a couple of free throws more, but man, oh man, did I see a lot of flailing from Desmond Bain, from Ja Morant, from even Xavier Tillman, who I did not expect that since, game two, he was killing us, he was crushing us. It was like a proper big man performance. And my heart was set. I was okay with Lakers losing, but man, oh man, that guy. I mean, for sure, like he put his head down. And I even tweeted this, by the way. If you haven't, you should check us out. And avid NBA fans on Twitter, go ahead and drop us a follow. But I did put this on Twitter that man, oh man, once he puts his head down and he's driving to the basket, he is getting something. Either it's a foul call or he's putting it in the line. And Triple J, I think Raj and I were discussing about this. Triple J had a great game defensively, but he was still able, LeBron was still able to get some layups over him. And Rudaj was pointing it out to me. I think Triple J had an amazing game defensively, right?
Yeah, he was like amazing on defense. But I think the one key that Lakers and LeBron in particular, I think, figured out at the end there was that he was always coming off the help from the weak side. So what LeBron did was call a switch from Xavier Tillman, who was doing a decent job. But what was the key was JJJ coming in with the block at the rim. So LeBron got a switch on JJJ, had an extended finish off the glass, which JJJ could not block.
He even
So
pointed us out in the post-game interview, by the way, that, when you have someone as good deterring the rim, then you're not going for that tier one right over the glass. You're pointing up away. You're trying for a floater type. So JJJ
yeah, exactly,
just does
exactly.
not have a contest.
Oh yeah, he had like two crazy like lays on JJJ that in that fashion, wherein he was going high off the window and he contorted his body, and like LeBron had to do that because I don't think anybody else was doing that or was gonna be able to do that finish on JJJ at the rim because he was absolutely stellar on defense. He had amazing big blocks on the rim, and he was just doing it all for the Memphis Grizzlies,
He was just
at least
swatting away.
defensively.
He was just
Yeah.
swatting away like Dennis Schroeder and Austin Reeves. Like those guys were trying to attack that rim, but JJJ was just swatting it away, and it was
Oh,
very
exactly. Like
heartbreaking.
I think it was Schroeder. I felt like he had an open layup, and Lakers created like an
Yeah,
advantage
in the
by swinging the
overtime.
ball around, and it was like, I was like, oh, okay, that's an easy layup. Finally, the Lakers get something because they were so patient. But then JJJ comes out of nowhere and swats that shit, and I was like, crazy. Like, he removed that advantage altogether. So yeah, I think he was their anchor defensively, which has been all year long. But LeBron figured him out too. I think that's where the IQ, where the experience, it all comes through.
I mean, you can always
Uh,
count on LeBron for these clutch moments. I mean, when all of the team is falling behind, I think so. LeBron is the one who takes them, and he takes responsibility. Right? We've seen other players dominating the game as much, but LeBron makes sure that he's dominating the game. But whenever his team needs him, whether he's injured or whether he's having a niggle in his back or somewhere niggle in his ankle, he's always tried to be there on the floor with him, and he tries to control the whole momentum of the team. Talking about the last clutch and trying to force the game into OT. I think so. That was a beautiful play and amazing IQ move by LeBron James, and then making sure that he's taking the Lakers team home in the overtime. I think so. LeBron has that ability to carry his team home, and he always does that. Talking about moving from LeBron, talking about Rui Hachimura, my favorite player. I did not like him as much, not contributing towards this particular game, but I also understand he does not have that kind of experience in the playoffs in these couple of games. I think so. I am just hoping that he outclasses Austin Reeves one more time. Although I don't
How
hate Austin Reeves, I like him as much. But then I picked Rui Hachimura over Austin Reeves.
Reeves catching strays.
Yeah, I mean Reeves is performing brilliantly in this match, becoming the highest scorer when AD and LeBron are on your team, and still not outclassing completely, but scoring more points than those two dominant people on the field. It's a very big feat for him. I mean, he should be very proud. I also heard an interview where LeBron was saying that Austin Reeves was talking about that he's feeling the best that he has always been, and he's feeling the best. I mean, he's at the highest point in his basketball career, and LeBron saying that he loves to see play people going that way, and that's something about LeBron that he takes everyone together. But Angad, what do you think about Rui Hachimura? Do you think he'll come back in the next game, or do you think it's over? It was just a fad for one particular for a particular amount of games.
I think it's not about being back. I think Rui was definitely a spark plug of the bench, right? So he had 24 in game one. That was enough for our Lakers to like dominate in the last quarter. Game two, I think everyone expected Lakers to calm down, but Rui still went on. Game three, again, 16 points. We talked about this in the last podcast too, that one of the highest playoff percentages. So his 3-point percentage actually went up to 75% all time,
Oof.
but he was 1 for 4,
Right.
so 25% tonight. So that was it, right? And Austin Reeves,
I
obviously,
think
I did kid after Arkansas. No, sorry,
yeah.
go ahead.
I think it wasn't so much so like him coming back. I think it was just law of averages, just evening it out his
Right,
like
completely.
percentages. And I think everyone, even like the best of players, have one bad game here and there. So
Right.
I don't think he's even in that upper echelon of players. I
I think,
think he's one of the better role players. But I think he had just one okay game. It wasn't even a terrible game. But like coming up for that, I think AD sucked like overall. He did
for sure.
make up for it at the end there. He had like tip in a big block on Ja in I think regulation at the end, and like he was clutched down low. He did his thing, but there was a report that he might be injured again. He was holding up his back or something. So what are you guys' thoughts on that?
So what happened was, I think Dylan Brooks, was it Dylan Brooks? If I'm not sure, Dylan Brooks knocked him down when he was on the second quarter, and he went down. He was like really picking his side up, and Lakers had to take a timeout right after the Memphis timeout. Lakers had to take a timeout because they were really unsure if AD was injured or not. But I think that was a one game to game thing, but it's really hard to say with AD. I really wanted to give a shout out to two players actually who I think performed really well. I did not think that they would go ahead and do this. I expect very different things from them, but still, those two were JV, Jared Vanderbilt. First quarter, amazingly. So he had 2 blocks in the first quarter. He got 10 points. He hit 2 corner 3s, and it just brought him a lot of momentum. You know that JV is not ending the game for you, right? He's not in the end matchup, but at the same point in time, he gave you a spark plug, and Lakers were down 10-2, and he was bringing up us up back. And right before he went on that huge massive lead, it was JV who was really playing well. And apart from that, I think one more player who played really really well was D'Angelo Russell. Right, so D'Angelo Russell, first half, really bad performance. He was like 1 for 6. He was like 1 for 6. He could not knock down anything. Then in the third quarter, picks up the pace. He gets like 3-4 mid. He's cooking in the mid range. He gets those buckets, really hard buckets, right? When you're down, when you can't run plays, he was getting those isolation buckets. And I remember the score was 90-97, and D'Lo having those two quick threes, and that really changed the momentum. I think that allowed the Lakers, that allowed LeBron to actually get into the groove and actually start that whole process again. They reset after every Memphis miss. If you see, they reset the clock. They were like, before 16 seconds, we are not passing up the ball. We are not running a play at all. We're not doing anything. We're going to reset everything. We're going to run a proper pick. We're going to run a 32 rocks action, which I think they were running a lot of inverted picks, and they were trying to get open shooter. And those shooters did not knock down the shots, obviously, but at the same point in time, it was good enough. So really hats off to these two players. And right before I pass the mic, I have to say, the star of this show, the actual star of this show was Dylan Brooks, man. So, well, Phil McMahon of ESPN said that Dylan Brooks, for the second game in a row, did not do a post-game interview. He said, "No comments. I do not want to say anything. I'll see you next year." Guys, what do you think about that?
I think I'll repeat what Shaq said, because Dylan had a big comment against LeBron that he does not respect anybody who hasn't dropped 40 on him. I think LeBron had 42 on him today because he had 22 and 20. So, yeah, I think Dylan is all talk and no game. Like, what did he have today? I think you showed us that stat today, right? Like, he's the worst playoff player. Like, he's the worst in like almost all statistical categories. So I think he's just all talk, no show at all. Like, he's actually I think even in game 3, Lakers were worse with him on the floor, and when he was ejected, Grizzlies were better with him off the floor. When he got ejected after that, they were better actually.
So the graphic says that Dylan Brooks, among 55 players who have attempted 40 plus field goal attempts this season, Dylan Brooks has 34, which is the last, which also constitutes the least field goal percentage. He has 7 rebounds, which is again the last. He has 5 assists, which is third to last, so he's got that going for him. He has 1 steal, which is second to last, for being a LeBron stopper in game 2 and wanting to guard prime LeBron. He has 0 blocks, which is all the time, and that's not his game. He has the minus 0.2 win shares, which again, LeBron stopper, right? And he has 1 ejection, which for once he's tied for the most.
I mean, I think so. He just needs to stop showing his face everywhere. I mean, I think so. He's just ducking the interview on the field. But if I were in his place, I would probably retire from NBA and probably sit at home and
wow. Okay.
And
I
never
think that's
play
a bit
again.
extreme, but I think
China
I would
is
stop
calling.
talking so much.
Yeah, I would probably shift to China where LeBron is not there, because I know people will come and tell me about and put it on my face that LeBron, you're mocking LeBron. That, I mean, he's that guy is just talk and no play at all. I mean, just trying to mock LeBron. I don't think so. Mocking LeBron has ever turned out good for anyone. It just does not make LeBron pace the game. It just makes LeBron come back stronger. And after the interview, in the post game interview as well, LeBron was like that guy is a kid. I'm not going to engage with him. I think so. He's in big soup. He's in thick soup. He needs to do something against LeBron in probably the next game. I think so. The bad mouthing is working against him. And it's just happening opposite with regards
He's
to
in his
him.
own head. But I have to ask you guys one question, right? If you are rebuilding a franchise right now, who would you rather have on your team? Would you rather have Ben Simmons, or would you rather have Dylan Brooks on your team?
Dylan Brooks for sure, man. At least he plays.
Dylan Brooks. Although, yeah, he's there. He's the last, but he's there on the court.
I'll get like a 1 from 50 from him, but I'll get 1 from 50 from him.
Talking about 1 from 50, talking about 50 from 1. I mean, the other game that we need to talk about is the craziest game, one of the craziest game of the nights, wherein Warriors and Warriors
I
was
can't
Sacramento
decide which
team.
one was the craziest, man. Like we've had like 3 absolutely amazing games.
We had 3 crazy games and then we had 3 complete snooze fests. Okay,
Yeah,
like 2 snooze fests,
mean,
1 game was still
yeah.
on.
Yeah, the
I mean,
Timberwolves, that was still crazy for me that they pulled that off. Anyways, getting back to it, from the biggest LeBron hater to the biggest LeBron lover, to one trash talker to another, from one flagrant foul guy to another. If you guys still don't know, we're talking about Warriors versus Kings. It's Draymond.
Ooh.
We're talking about
Oof.
Draymond. So this has been an amazing series. From game 1 to game 4, all 4 have been crazy. All 4 have been really close, except from that game 3 where the Warriors pulled away. And probably the game 2 where the Warriors did come back at the end, but it was still like the
Fake
Kings pretty
comeback.
much had control. Yeah. So Fox had Fox things. Fox did 38, had a clutch 3 against Draymond, which by the way, he couldn't miss middies, like you said. Like he's been crazy all series long. It's just like he's automatic. He's like a robot. But he did. Draymond made him pass up that last shot, and he had to give it up to HB, which was the right play to make because they doubled him, and they tried to make HB make them lose, right? And unfortunately, Barnes missed the 3, and he's been dogged ever since on all social media just because of that. And like he's been called like, oh, he's still wearing a Warriors jersey. He's still on the Warriors. He's still playing for them. And yeah, even Draymond said in his post game, I think, that he was ready to call us all B words and whatnot if he made that shot. So it was like he was glad to see him miss that. But yeah, it was a fun game. And I think Draymond was excellent on him in the second half. I don't know if you guys saw that, but like I think Kerr came up with a gem with that one. I mean, obviously, with a player of the caliber of Fox, I don't think you ever stop a guy like that. But I think when you throw different looks at a person like that, it's a steady diet of like confusion, I'd say. You're not just making them comfortable with any kind of a defensive look. So I think that was a key change up with Draymond's size and that big wingspan. I think he has a 7-foot wingspan and he's only like 6'6". So that's crazy for his size. And I think he played amazing. And like Angad said, JP had a good game. But to offset that, Keegan Murray finally shows up in this series. What are your thoughts, Angad? I think you love Keegan more than any of the 3 of us.
So we were talking about this, Kings rightfully so got a lot of slack during the Domantas Sabonis trade back in last trade deadline, right? They traded Tyrese Haliburton off for Sabonis, and after that they got dogged for taking Keegan Murray over Jaden Ivey as the 4th pick. It was pretty much a consensus that Jaden Ivey was the top 4 pick, and Jaden Ivey then refused to play for the Sacramento Kings. Apparently, he did not even have a training with them. And Keegan Murray, when he was taken, he obviously had a lot of expectations since, above Jaden Ivey, who has had a good season, probably 3rd in Rookie of the Year ballots and everything. But, he stepped up his game tonight. So, pre-game, Mike Brown had this quote that, Keegan has been really slow, really bad offensively. He's passing up on shots, he's not taking them, and that he was going to get no touches, and he was not going to get enough playing time if he was going to give up on the shots once again. And I think Keegan Murray really delivered. I think he was 11 for 70. He was knocking down those threes, and I remember that it was a 4-point game, and suddenly Keegan Murray hits a 3. Once again, a 1-point game now, and all the pressure is back on the Warriors to extend that lead because, like you said, Fox was automatic. I think his averages have been pretty subpar. It's like 47, 37, and 70. But man, oh man, if you're
It
watching
does
the game,
not feel like that.
exactly, it does
Yeah.
not feel like that at all. He's been automatic from 338. Unfortunately, Sweden, we just got the news that Woj has dropped, that De'Aaron Fox got injured in the last quarter. He was actually suffering from a ligament tear in his finger, and he's questionable.
Oh,
With
that's rough.
all the injuries going on, what do you think about this? And do the Kings have any chance without De'Aaron Fox?
Uh, Surely not. I think so. De'Aaron Fox has been the player which they have been counting on for a long time to produce that offensively, along with Domantas Sabonis, right? But De'Aaron Fox has played such a crucial role in the because in their attack, because Domantas Sabonis cannot do it alone. I think so. Without De'Aaron Fox, the Warriors do not really stand a chance. Sorry, the Kings do not really stand a chance. But I think so. It's been good for them. I think so. It's been a good game for Warriors. I think so. It should have been as close as it was. I mean,
Sure.
blowing off a 10-point lead in a Q4 in a clutch game. I think so. That was something that was irresponsible from the Warriors side, especially when Curry took a timeout when the timeouts were over, and Steve Kerr reacting what do you call it very animatically, and making sure that he's making sure that the players know that they made a shot. But Rudraj, what do you think? Do you think that does does Delhi have a chance, since you're the Warriors fan? I mean, I know you say that they do won't, but like, what are your take? What's your
The
hot take?
resident Warrior fans.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think Fox plays through the injury. That's for sure. He's had that injury, and I think it was reported that he had that in the fourth quarter of Game 3. I think, and he's been playing through that, and I think he'll still play through that, especially in the situation that they're in right now. I think he definitely plays, and yeah, the Kings obviously have a chance. They're not done. I don't think they're done in the series for sure. If the Warriors have to get a game, I think it has to be Game 5, because Game 7 on the road, the track record says otherwise for the Warriors. As much experience as they've had some boneheaded plays, like you said, with Draymond being Draymond, Steph calling the C-Web timeout. So, I mean, they've not really shown that championship experience in this series particularly. They haven't handled their business. They didn't get Game 1 or Game 2, which would have been an easier game, arguably, than Game 5. They had Game 1, they dropped that game, they had a 10-point lead, they dropped that, and they almost gave away this game again. And it's just been tough being a Warriors fan this season, man. Like, they have had games and they've blown games, especially on the road. It's just been a really different team. They don't take their defense with them. And I think definitely the Kings have a very good chance. And knowing Mike Brown, I think he'll make some changes. But what do you think about the changes that Kerr made, and the exchange that they had at the near the half court? I think Kerr said that they made some different plays. Like you saw the inverted pick and roll wherein Draymond was the ball handler and Steph was setting screens. So Kerr definitely threw a curveball towards Mike Brown. So what do you think the changes will be from Mike?
Angad, go ahead.
All right. So we were actually talking about this, that skirmish where Mike Brown was laughing with Steve Kerr.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we've actually changed plays. And this is something that Rudy and I were actually talking during the game, that Steph has been that inverted pick and roll player, but Draymond is just 3 for 14 from the field. And the biggest thing that I saw in that
Oh, he
Warriors
was
game,
dog shit from the field. He was dog shit. He was blowing layups, man.
yeah,
He
and
did that over and over and over again. He was offensively really bad in this game, but his defense sort of made up for it.
yeah, I saw a lot of dump off passes to Kevon Looney, to Draymond from Steph driving, and then them getting that second chance rebound, but then just blowing it over, and that did not help them at all. If they would have gotten a couple of layups, I do not think this would have been that hard fought of a game. And the best thing that I saw was actually Jordan Poole's performance. So whenever whenever Steph Curry was not on the field, Jordan Poole was racing. He was targeting the basket. He was not settling at all. He was going towards the basket. And I think Shritim had a new beautiful point about this while we were talking that, Jordan Poole with all this aggressiveness, I think when you saw that three guard lineup, we had a lot of things that, oh, can this lineup actually stand defensively? But Shritim and I were talking. Shritim, you want to go ahead with this one?
Yes, Anil. I mean, the three guard lineup for them has been absolutely wonderful in the past two games. I mean, Draymond Green coming off the bench gives them the offensive production that they have been looking forward to. I think so. Having Steph Curry, having the Thompson and Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole being a bit unreliable at times, but when he fires off, he's as good as the other two people on the team. I mean, he
Oh, for
does
sure,
not have
yeah.
the all-star caliber that these people have. But he's as good as they are when he fires off, right? So it just gives them the open space. It gives them, I mean, having two Splash Brothers on the team and then having a third Splash Brother really opens up the game for Warriors. And then Jordan and then Green coming off the bench doing what he has done defensively really opens up the game. Jordan Poole giving them the open look, giving Thompson the open look, giving Steph Curry the open look. And I was reading about the statistics where I saw that Steph Curry is basically better than the big men at finishing at the rim as well. So just having two shooters outside the box and then letting Steph Curry to drive in and finish at the rim, I think so that also works for the Warriors. And I think so it would be an easier game in Game 5 because they have some sort of a strategy that they can take away with Sacramento Kings. I was also seeing the statistics where the Sacramento Kings shooters or the scorers that they have, Domantas Sabonis and De'Aaron Fox, have dropped 10% in terms of the true shooting percentage in the playoff series, whereas Steph Curry and Klay Thompson have increased 10% in their true shooting percentage as compared to season averages coming forward. So I think so they have found their
That's what champs do.
that's what they have gone and found their rhythm, and I think so Game 5 wouldn't be as far as we thought we might think that it is.
Probably one thing that I wanted to talk about in this game was that, Steph had only 32 points. I thought when I was looking at the box score, he probably had 50, right? And we're talking about this that, Steph had only 22, and we were talking about Steve Kerr's game plan. And Steph can probably take 30, 35 shots and no one would bat an eye. But the thing is that he was playing within that offense. He was creating. Steph always has that gravity. He could go 1 for 11 from the 3-point line, and someone is getting a hand up. They are face guarding him from the half court line itself because he's driving, he's running. You had that clip going viral on Twitter where Steph driving to the lane and hitting a floater. He actually traveled 98 feet in one play, which is absolutely insane. And he was playing throughout within the offense, right? He was 50% from field last night. He was 45% from three. He even managed to get 4 assists. He got a steal. And that is one of the things that I think is majorly what's underrated about Steph's game. Steph does not have the biggest wingspan, right? Steph doesn't have the biggest size, but he does not let anyone blow by him, especially with help defenders like Draymond. And even if Klay is not in his prime Klay perimeter defense, but Kevon Looney, who is held up on his own at times, it really helps when you just do not, like a Trae Young probably would just let people blow by him and is a complete zero in defense. He's completely negative. You're always looking for that matchup. I think Steph is no longer that person that you're always looking to match up against and actually go up against. But if you guys do not have,
Yeah, I think if you want like the weakest link on the Warriors, it's probably Poole because he doesn't even get in that defensive stance, I think. And he's just standing there, like he's probably like a traffic cone out there because he's not even trying. But yeah, like you said, Steph has been amazing on defense in the last 2 years. He's really stepped up his game on that end. And if you want an example of that, look no further than the regular season Bucks game where he blocks Jrue Holiday for a game-saving block. What more do you want from your 6'3" point guard who's giving you 40 a night on offense and blocking Jrue Holiday on defense for a game-saving block? He's no longer a negative defender. He's definitely a plus defender for me. I think he's improved a lot on even the defensive end. And like you said, like Srijan mentioned, he's even better at finishing at the rim than some big men in this league. So he's not just a three shooter. He's not just a shooter. I think he's a very complete player, including his defense at this point of his career. And to think he's doing that in like his twilight years, like he's above 30. I think he's 35 now. So Steph has been amazing. Fox has been amazing. This series has been amazing.
For sure.
And I can't wait for like game 5.
This series has Game 7 written all over it.
Yeah, for sure. I sure hope not, but I think it goes 7. I'm not sure.
Talking about Game 7, do you think, moving on to the next game, do you think Milwaukee can take it to Game 7 to bring it back home? Or do you think Jimmy Butler is going to end them in the next game?
Jimmy Butler. Say his
brilliant
name
performance.
right. Jimmy Butler.
Jimmy Butler putting up the points for the Heat game and putting up whatever. I mean, it was offensive. It was a good offensive production from the other team as well. Giannis coming off his injury and then scoring a triple double in his for the first time in playoffs, right? And then and Brook Lopez giving him the open space, and Brook Lopez also contributing on the 3-point line and inside the box. And both performing and leading the game for 3 quarters and then blowing it away with the 4th quarter. Jimmy Butler just came off. What do you think about this, Anwar?
So like it was a pretty nonchalant game for me, right? For 3 quarters, it was like Bucks leading. Bucks were dominating them on the side. They have a lot of size advantage. Even at the point guard space, I would say that they have size advantage because Drew Holiday is not letting anyone go past him. Drew Holiday, one of the best perimeter defenders I think the game has seen. One of the best guards, should have won DPOY over Marcus Smart, I believe. But at the same point in time, 13-point game, right? And then, I was watching the game and all the 3 of us were talking and I was like, okay, 7-0. 7-0 Miami run, right? Caleb Martin hitting shots. Caleb Martin comes down the field, another 3, right? Okay, 10-0 run. Okay, Drew Holiday, step back 3, 10-3 run. And then Jimmy Butler.
That was tough from Drew too.
Yeah.
It was like at that point, I was like, wait, is this like a classic slugfest? Like, bang, bang, bang. Like it was shot after shot after shot.
No defense. You have Caleb Martin going off. You don't have Tyler Hero, but Duncan Robinson off. And then steps the man. He had the game written over him. He had 24 in the first quarter, 22 in the first quarter, 2 points in the first quarter, ended up with 53. Just let me read you some stats off right now, right? So, Jimmy Butler, not the best 3-point shooter we know, right? He has averaged in his 11 years, he's averaged 32% from 3, right? In his season, in his career. 35% from 3 for his this entire regular season. So, a bit better, but now take this. 43% from 3 in the playoffs, right? Goes up in game 1, plays 42 minutes, and he got 35 points. Game 2, 25 points, 8 for 12 shooting, 2 for 4 from 3, 25 points. Alright, not a lot of points. Bad game for them, but without Giannis, what can you say, right? And that was when we gave that. I at least gave that prediction. The series is over. Jimmy Butler is fooling y'all. Comes back in game 3. No Giannis again. 30 points, 12 for 19. Another FP strike. 4 for 4 from 3. Alright. I'm like, alright. And this game, 41 minutes, 56 points, 19 for 28. It was the 5th highest score. Guys, this is the most incredible stat that I saw today. He had the franchise record for Heat for most points scored in the playoffs. We're talking about Alonzo Mourning. We're talking about the GOAT himself, LeBron James. We're talking about Dwayne Wade. We're talking about a bit out of the prime, but still Shaquille O'Neal. We had Chris Bosh, who was sometimes going off for them. We have a lot of players in that Heat franchise who have played amazingly. But Jimmy Butler tonight, he showed that he increases his stock every time he sets foot in that playoff season, right?
I tried to warn you all. Second coming of Michael Jordan.
Damn sure you're right.
I told y'all. I mean, yeah, he's been amazing, and he's done that in the past. Especially Lakers fans, intent, you guys should know about him.
That game 5
he gave you all the business.
At game 5, he took Heat on his back, and this was game 4. Guys, another thing
I
that
mean, taking
sure, go ahead.
I mean, not taking away any shine from Jimmy Butler. I think so. But there was some problem with the Bucks management as well. I mean, giving him 12 straight points in the last quarter, wherein he's scoring 12 or 12-0, and then not taking a timeout at that particular moment was, I think so, the game shifting for Jimmy Butler and Miami Heat, which brought them home. I think so. It's not just it's always 99% hard work, but there's 1% luck which he needed to get the highest number of points for the Heat this season, and that's I think so that's what he got. And that is why I think so Miami Bucks gave away the game. I mean, playing like they were in the first 3 quarters, they shouldn't have given up the game. But last quarter, not taking a timeout, giving them all the momentum, I think so. It would be really hard for Milwaukee Bucks to come back in the next game.
Right. And this is one more thing, right? They've met twice before. So that once in the bubble, right? Bucks versus Heat in the bubble. Jimmy Butler just showing off 3-0, lose a game without Giannis when Giannis got injured, and winning that series 4-1. Next season, when the Bucks actually went on to win it all, 4-0 swept the Heat. A similar team, but Bucks were in for no laughing, no reactions. They were locked in. And that's the problem that I saw. Like Srijan, you just pointed it out, right? They could have taken a timeout. They should have slowed down Jimmy Butler, but Mike Budenholzer is back on his antics. No late game adjustments. He was giving Jimmy the three, which I mean, I would give Jimmy the three too if I was the
Yeah,
coach. But come on, man, if that guy is going to 40 points in the by the third
double
quarter,
him.
I am
Yeah.
I am face guarding him and I'm guarding him from the half court. I have Giannis on him from that time. No help defense, Giannis, one-on-one, you got to match Jimmy Butler. And that was the problem I saw from Mike.
Oh yeah, exactly. I agree, and I think to your point, he should have been at least hedged, doubled, or something. Especially when we saw none of the other Miami Heat could even put the ball in the basket for like if their life depended on it. It was just Jimmy all the way through. It was nobody else except for like Caleb Martin on a couple of threes at the end there and like some points here and there. But I think if they doubled Jimmy, I think they had the best chance doubling Jimmy or some sort of adjustment. Like you said, Mike has been consistent with like never making any adjustments and just going with his game plan, what he thought of. And I think we saw that again today, which cost them big in the fourth quarter. They led all game and they let that one slip away.
For sure.
And I think now with Miami just having one game to win out of the next three, tough road for even the Milwaukee Bucks, even the first seed from the whole regular season. It's gonna be tough.
And
So
still
like,
have a home game.
yeah, exactly. They still have one home game wherein they can close it out. Even if the Bucks win in Milwaukee, the Heat have a good chance of closing them out back in Miami.
I think so. The Bucks need to work very hard. I mean, considering that Giannis having that broken back, I mean, having that and trying. If you saw the game during the game as well, he took every chance to rest his back and give it a rest and give it a massage. We saw his physiotherapist giving him a massage
Hey,
in between the game as well.
with that
I think so.
machine gun.
Yeah, with
Machine
the
gun
machine gun.
with the percussion massager. But the thing is that I don't know how well can Giannis last the series. Can he continue and produce a lot of points for the Milwaukee at the current injury state
Great
that
point.
he's in? I'm not sure. If he goes again and plays 40-45 minutes in the next 2 games, he might not be able to play the last game of the series. And that I think so gives it a whole new edge to Miami Heat.
Another thing I wanted to talk about was Brook Lopez going off. He had 36 and it was an efficient 36, which I think Milwaukee didn't use enough. We obviously know the Bucks have a size advantage, like Angad talked about, but especially at the center position, they almost play like two centers, right? They have 2 7-foot guys, and all Miami could muster up was Bam, who's already very small for the center position, and Kevin Love, who's not really a defensive guy. So, uh, even though Love gave them good minutes, I think Milwaukee can win by going down low. And punishing Miami for having a small lineup out there. And obviously, I think Mike needs to make some changes, and they need to double Jimmy, or like just not have him go off in first quarters. Like in all 4 games, he's had more than like 13 or 14 points in the first quarter. He always sets the tone for his team. So I think from the jump, I think they need to stifle Jimmy, like Angad mentioned. Just face guard him, box and ones, whatever you have to do. Just stop Jimmy from scoring, and I think that's how Milwaukee comes back in this series.
Talking about being unstoppable, let's transition into the next game wherein the Joker was unstoppable. Right, he was putting down the points. He scored 43 in the previous match, but it was all overblown by how Ant played. I mean, Ant is an amazing leader, leading from the front and making sure that he's getting his team home, forcing the overtime and then bringing it home in the overtime. I think so. The Nuggets were outclassed in the overtime completely, and the threes coming in from the Timberwolves. I think so. Timberwolves really worked hard. I mean, we all predicted that it was going to be a sweep in the last podcast, and then they and Karl Anthony Towns coming in and surprising all of us with the game he had and the kind of leading that he did from the front, and then bringing one game home. I think so. A lot of people lost their money on the parlays last night because of the
Don't
performance
talk
that
about
had. Angad, what do you think about the money?
Throwing
amount?
shade, Srijin?
Because, Jokic has been so nonchalant these last 3 games. I was like, oh yeah, I had this NBA props. I was like, yeah, Jokic is not going to get about 25. And Brunson is cooking. We get to that review. That was an amazing game. But Jokic is going to sit back, relax. MPJ is going to go wildfire. It's been crazy throughout the series. He's been crashing the glass. He's been killing them on the offense, hitting threes, 50% from 3. Still now, even though he had a bad game, he's still 50% from 3. Man, oh man. And if there was one person, who I thought would definitely cool down, it had to be this guy. And, playing against the Lakers, he went 3 for 17. And if he had gone 4 for 17, this matchup wouldn't exist, because the Timberwolves would have been the 7th seed, right? And obviously, everything changes, revisionist history. But at the same point of time, in game 1, all right, game 25 points, game 2, 36, game 3, 33, game 4, another 30 bomb. He's killing them, he's getting the rebounds, he's getting the offense. I think this playoff, I think last playoff, it was too early. We all called it that it was a year too early. I think it's still a bit early, but I think Ant has proven that he is the superstar of this team. I think
Oh yeah.
he's throwing serious shade to Karl Anthony Towns. I don't think Karl Anthony Towns is gonna stay on this team for a long time
Oh yeah.
anymore.
I think we discussed that wherein I thought it was a hot take, but you mentioned it's no longer a hot take. That Ant
Exactly.
is the real superstar, and Cat needs to be traded for like value at this point, because he's not vocal. He doesn't do it with his game. He doesn't do it with his mouth. I think he's not a good leader, not on offense, not on defense. I think Ant was doing it all, and Ant as a shooting guard has shown such great promise even on the defensive end. He rebounds very well because of his athleticism, but he's also had some crazy blocks. Like in that playing game, he had that crazy block,
Yeah.
and we've seen him do it all on offense, on defense, and he's vocal about it. And I think he's the only one on that team, other than like maybe Kyle Anderson, who has I've seen them have that real competitive edge where they want to
For
win.
sure.
Other than that, I think that's why all 3 of us predicted it to be a sweep, because we didn't see that fight from Minnesota. We didn't see that hunger to win at all. And yeah, I think that says a lot about Cat and Ant.
I think apart from this game, the only net positive player that I've seen throughout the series has been Kyle Anderson. I think he was one player that did not fit with the Grizzlies, because the Grizzlies were a very fast-paced team last season. Kyle Anderson, also known as Slow Mo, I think he went to, I don't remember his college, but even then he was known as Slow Mo. He has a slow as jump shot, but it does go in. He has a slow as floater, but it does go in. And more than being slow, he plays the game with intensity. He plays the game with fire. And that's exactly what Anthony Edwards does. And being a resident Lakers/Nuggets fan, I think I had Jokic winning his third MVP this season. And watching them play the last 10 games, I've been a bit disappointed. They're probably going against one of Suns and Clippers. I think it's probably going to be the Suns, and there's a lot to be desired from this Nuggets team because sometimes they just go asleep. So there are two types of games, right? There's one game where Jokic is sleeping and everyone else is trying to pick it up. Jokic is going to do his playmaking. Jokic is not going to score the ball a lot. And then this other game where everyone is missing their shots. Everyone is not going full 100% balls to the wall, and Jokic is absolutely terrific. Sorry, in that type of a atmosphere because he's played 1.5 seasons. He won all those MVPs. He won those MVPs without any supporting cast, and that was the biggest question, Rudrash. I think that everyone had that. All right, he had those MVPs, right? He had all these regular season accolades right now. Can he prove himself in the playoffs? Him and Joel Embiid, both of them, can they prove themselves in the playoffs? What do you think about that?
I think yeah, Joel has been amazing previously in the playoffs as well, but he had that excuse with the Jamal Murray injury in the past, and just some games they got like tough breaks against the Lakers where I think Anthony Davis had that big three at the
Game
buzzer.
two, oh my god.
Yeah, like
Those bring
they
back
were
good
at
memories.
and they were at the end of some of the crazy like 3-1 games against those Jazz teams,
Jazz.
and like yeah, that was taxing on that team. But I think yes, I agree that Joel and Sixers have a lot on the line, including their coach, and the Nuggets are in the same situation. I think Michael Malone and this Nuggets team is under a lot of pressure to win now because they've been the first seed in the past, and they're I think the second seed this time, and
They're the first seed this time.
they're also the first seed this time. They were like
They were the sixth seed
okay,
last time, and they were the fourth seed before that.
fourth seed. Okay, so they were the first seed this time. So they proved themselves in the regular season. They've done that in the past, and like at this point, the fans are just antsy for a playoff deep run from the Nuggets as well because we've seen it all and we're kind of bored of it just crashing and burning come playoff time. So
A
we kind
second
of want to
round,
see.
a second round exit cannot constitute to a good year for Jokic.
Oh yeah, for sure.
For
I
sure.
think it has to be nothing less than the NBA Finals for it to be anything meaningful.
Damn, NBA Finals.
Oh, for sure. Like, because they've already been to the conference finals. What's the point of having Jamal Murray back if they can't even make it to the finals?
Yeah, in 2 years
I
from
think this has been the deepest team that they've had with
Oh yeah,
MPJ coming up big, with Aaron Gordon finally clicking for them, with
KCP,
KCP, with
Bruce
their
Brown.
backup. Bruce Brown has been amazing for them. Even Christian Brown has been amazing for
Christian
them.
Brown has been good, and
And they
they
feel
have
like
the best center in second string center in
Nathan
the
Smith.
game, Thomas Bryant, and the third
Yeah,
best center, that's
D-Wing.
DeAndre Jordan.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like from all the playoff games that I've seen, I feel like the Nuggets are the deepest team that I see. The deepest team that I see. And the bench was the Nuggets bench was killing the Timberwolves. The Timberwolves obviously are not that deep, and their bench was probably not that close. But even the starters were getting it from the bench. So I feel like the Nuggets are the deepest team, which usually helps. Because as we see, like all around the league, injuries are a big thing. Long series are a big thing. You get gassed, you get injured. So the deepest team, well, having that deepest team will obviously help. And I think this is the most help that Jokic is ever going to get. So I think this is the year to go for it.
And especially because Suns versus Clippers is gonna be probably, if not a game 5, a game 6 match. I think they
Right.
want to
Yeah.
get over with it early. They get over with it early. They have time. I remember in the regular season, Suns versus Nuggets. Nuggets did not play even one starter in the game. They were like, "We are not showing you what we have in store for playoffs." They had no one, and they
Right.
still ended up winning that game, which is crazy. Because at that point of time, the players were the shambles, the Lakers were the 9 seed, and everything was crazy. Only the Nuggets and the Memphis and Kings were up ahead, and everything else was haywire. But to your point, right? The bench of Timberwolves were killing them, and Nas Reed still injured. I think the Timberwolves, man, oh man, I mean, they did win this game. They did show some respect to the Nuggets. Sorry, the Nuggets had to show some respect to the Timberwolves. I think they did not just lay down and died and then made the playoffs. But man, oh man, what a incredibly disappointing season. They were the seventh seed last season. They had Patrick Beverly with them, and obviously we had the whole thing about um, Patrick Beverly standing on the table
Yeah.
and running up on
Yeah.
them and all of those things, right? And they make the biggest trade of their entire career, right? Of their entire franchise history, except for the
Are we
team.
going back to that?
Yeah, we are going back to that, right? I mean, not really, but they made a huge trade. They traded the entire future, and now it doesn't look like that trade makes sense. And maybe Karl Anthony Towns could be the next superstar demanding for the trade. So who knows what
Oh,
going
I
on?
don't think he's a superstar anymore. I think the superstar
Exactly.
that they should worry about is
Hot
Anthony
take.
Edwards and his demands. I think at this point, you get what you get out of Cat, like the best value that you can get out of Cat. Just get out of it and just get off of that sinking ship as fast as you can. Because he's a big man. He's only gonna get worse with time, with age, with his injuries and stuff. And to be honest, I just don't see the dog in him. I just don't see that competitive fire
He
in him.
got the wrong dog in him, the hot dog in him.
Yeah, I just don't see that competitive edge, that fire in him. He's intense for like 5 minutes and then he just starts crying about fouls or something or the other, and he's just not there. Somewhat like a poor man's version of Anthony Davis,
That's
wherein
exactly what I wanted to compare to him. And so then, right before you go ahead, I wanted to say this one thing that there were these top three lists. If you would go in any YouTube and type down who the top three centers, who the top three power forwards, it is unanimous, right? You had either Jokic or Embiid at 1 and 2, and then you would have Cat at 3, and then for power forwards you would have Kevin Durant and Giannis at 1 and 2, and then you would have AD at 3. And that's the problem. I think AD has stepped up his game a bit this season. I think he's been better, especially defensively. But Nano and Cat, I do not think he's the third best center at all in the league anymore. I think Sabonis,
JJ.
JJJ, if he's a center, I think he's a lot better. I think Sabonis had an incredible season. He was a third seed, so props to him. AD, whenever he played center, was miles ahead of Cat. I think you could even
Oh,
have
for sure.
you could even have a debate that a lot of these centers, like even Kristaps had a good season for a middling franchisee like a Wizards.
Kevon Looney.
Kevon Looney had a better season. You could honestly argue with all of these things, and it's a debate. But at the same point in time, I'm willing to have it because Karl Anthony Towns was that bad this season.
I mean, it's okay. Let's give him some time to come back. I think so. There have been a lot of changes. We being a lot hard on him for just one season. Going back, I mean, there is a lot of things that lie upon him, and there's a lot of responsibility on his shoulders. But I also understand that there's a lot of things happening around him. I think so. The Timberwolves will have a lot of things to go back in the season. I mean, they'll go back home earlier, and they'll pack their bags. I mean, they delayed their flights. Probably I think so. They would have booked the flights after the third game, wherein they would have thought that
And said nope.
yeah. But I think so. They're coming back, and I mean, talking about the game, I don't know what happened with the Nuggets. I mean, Nuggets being so dominating and then probably not even leading the game for the majority part of the game in the previous game. I really don't know what happened to them. I think so.
They fell
Like you guys were
asleep.
talking about Jokic. Jokic has a lot of things on his has a lot of
Jesus,
things on
take
his
the wheel.
shoulder. Has a lot of on his riding on his shoulders because he's been the MVP for the past 2 years, and this year
Oh, yeah.
also he's also running
For sure.
on the MVP. But that is, I mean, we always talk about this in the LeBron James versus Michael Jordan race, that he does not have the rings to support the kind of caliber or the kind of player that he is. But he needs to. He has a lot of things on his shoulder. He has the depth in his team. I don't know. I just don't know what's happening. It's just that I think that it might go on to the next series wherein they might blow it off just like they did in this game, and I'm very scared of that. And and Jokic being the MVP for and talking about the MVP being for the consecutive third time, I think so. He's the greatest player in the league right now, but he still can't get
Yeah.
his team a ring. I think so. I don't know what it does for his legacy, considering that he's been so good in the past couple of seasons.
If I've got sort of a pattern here. If the Warriors, Lakers, Suns, and Nuggets go to the next round, if they do that, would you argue that these are the four most inconsistent teams? That they have a lot of ups and downs. The Lakers have been known to do that. Warriors have done that all season long. Suns, they go on runs and then they just totally blow it off. And so have the Nuggets. So do you think four inconsistent teams are going to the next rounds? Or do you think just because of their inconsistency, they might have issues?
I still think so. They might not have issues. They'll go into the future. I think so. These are big teams, right? And these have players which have big calibers. I think so. These players know how to perform in a playoff series. So shouldn't be a big of a problem. So as such big of a problem, I think so. They'll be okay in the future. I think so. The load management, the team dynamics. I think so. It's taken a lot of time for them to figure it out. And I think so for the teams, it has worked out for now. I don't know how the dynamics will work in the future. I think so. Having the mid-season trades for a lot of teams, wherein they changed a lot of things around, which caused the fit to not be that great in the starting, and then probably being better at the end, and then pulling it off and pulling a playoff berth in the end. I think so. That is something which was causing a lot of things, but I don't think so. That should be a problem in the playoff season. Since they are big teams, they have the coaching potential. They have the potential in their teams, wherein they have a lot of experience coming forward. I know experience is not everything, but you cannot discount of experience in these type of series. Wherein the game might go to game 7, and then in the game 7 you need to know how to carry your composure. We saw it in the Warriors game as well, wherein the last shot was missed because of the lack of composure. I know that he has a lot of experience with that. If he would have, it was an open three, and you cannot miss open threes in the game like this. So that is what experience does to you. That it grounds you down. And I think so if we would have made the three, Warriors would have been 3-1, and we would have been talking about a game 7, probably a game 6, wherein the Warriors wouldn't have made it to the next round as well.
I
But
probably would have been silent as hell. I probably wouldn't have been talking at all.
Oh,
But
damn.
talking about inexperience, switching over to the East, Knicks versus Cavs.
Oh
I
my
think
God.
you have been following this series a lot, Angad. I think we'd love to hear from you.
Man, this series. So first of all, first game of the day, right? It's 10:30 p.m. and first game of the day, and you know a Tom Thibodeau defense when you see one, right? It's like great, you're gonna play, and Tom Thibodeau has always been that man who he will make the best defense, but he needs someone to attack for him. He needed prime Derek Rose to make that offense one of the best offenses. Even he had that defensive scheme on, but at any point when he wanted a basket, he was like, Derrick Rose, just run to the rim and pass it on and do something with the ball. And man, oh man, has he found the brilliant point guard in Jalen Brunson. I was thinking about it. If Jalen Brunson was there in Mavericks instead of Kyrie Irving, do you think the Mavericks would have made at least the play? Because
I think so.
exactly, right? So when you do the match, I was like, I had that prediction, right? Cleveland is going to catch
You
up.
don't even really
It's-
have to do a what if. He was on the Mavs the previous year and we
Exactly.
saw how far they went.
And he took 2 games against the Jazz without a Luka, right? And thinking about
Oh,
it,
yeah.
I remember I saw a tweet, right? Everyone talks about Cavs not having a wing, and Cavs, you can slot in anyone. You can slot in probably Trey Lyles or Lamar Stevens, and you can get away with it. Well, guess what? Knicks had the best point guard in the series. Knicks had the best big man in the series, and it was all down to Mitchell Robinson. I have some stats for you right here, right? Mitchell Robinson is the least has the least contested paint time spent. So basically, whenever Mitchell Robinson is in the paint, he has to contest the least amount of shots in all the playoff series combined. And this is with Donovan Mitchell, who is attacking the rim, Darius Garland, who can definitely get downhill, Evan Mobley, who still in his second year, but he has put in some work into having some post move, and Jared Allen, who was just an all star last year. And I like some plays that JB Biggerstaff ran with Evan Mobley. Evan Mobley being the screener, setting backdoor cuts for Darius Garland and everything. But man, oh man, was I disappointed with Don. And that was the biggest problem. I think you guys must have seen that too. That Donovan Mitchell, complete negative. And like we talked about it, forcing shots like Mikhail Bridges, like we talked about in the previous series, he was forcing shots again and again. And that was the problem.
Oh yeah, I think Donovan has been known to do that. I think even on those years in Utah, I think he's never learned to play within the offense, and I think the Cavs don't have a lot of offense to go on with anyways. But I think Donovan has always been forcing shots. I think he's in that stage where Booker was probably like a couple of years ago, or like 3 years ago, or something like that, wherein Booker just wanted every shot. He was inefficient, and Donovan has been doing that for a long time now. It works sometimes, but like Kobe said, like you're never gonna win a championship just trying to score all on your own. And yeah, I think he has been forcing up a lot of shots, and the Cavs don't really seem to have a lot of offense. And yeah, like you said, Tom has always been known for his defense, and the Knicks are crushing them. And I think Jalen Brunson was like the biggest problem with the Mavericks just letting him go. They should have just matched his offer, and I think they pulled off a Lakers wherein they tried to fish for the big guy, and they didn't do so well because they didn't care about the fit. They just went for the big player in Kyrie Irving, and that just went all in flames. I'm all for it because I mean, obviously, I don't really love Kyrie, but yeah, that was fun for me to watch. But overall, the Mavs like went from a 96% chance of winning, or I mean, sorry, going into the playoffs to just completely missing it all, and then they were then fined for I think tanking the last few games to just drop out of the play-in.
750K fine on Mark Cuban, by the way, for tanking on the last game of the season.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just sad after acquiring Kyrie in a huge trade, giving up a lot of assets. Um, that was just sad to see that they tried to tank, and like Kyrie was in a rental. They could just lose it all for nothing, and all to tank in the last. I think that was a train wreck. But coming back to the Knicks Cavs, I think uh, it has been a decent series, but I think I'd like to change my prediction from Cavs in 7 to probably Knicks in 6 at best. 5, I think now. And New York is going to be lit. The Knicks fans are always crazy. I mean, they were crazy with winning one game, but think about what will happen if they advance to the next round.
I mean, definitely, Cleveland is not playing at the best that they could. Probably Donovan Mitchell needs to step up. Donovan Mitchell has been great all season, but I don't know what has happened to him in this series particularly, and he's been defended well as well, guarded well as well. But I think so. The Donovan Mitchell, he does not have, if he does not produce the All Star kind of talent that he has, or the kind of he does not carry the games like LeBron. I don't think so. I think so it's over for Cleveland 5 probably. And that is something that has been a problem for the Cleveland Cavs team. I mean, he after LeBron happened, Donovan Mitchell has been probably dominating the game, was dominating the game all season. But I don't know what has happened to him from 28.8 points a game for the season average. Now he's just scoring 22 points a game, and which is that definitely not what the Cleveland Cavaliers want. And also talking about you talked about the Knicks fans. The fans were crazy last night, talking about them booing Cavs in the game, and then probably cheering them. And I think so. The home court advantage was at its peak in the last game, and it was, I think so. It is what get them that extra edge to particularly get that game home. And talking about the fans, what's happening with all the celebrities in this particular game? I mean, I see more celebrities attending this game than any Warriors or Lakers game, which I never thought would happen. And this is something that is happening. Angad, what do you think about it?
Man, oh man, Knicks had the crowd booming when MSG was sold out. It showed a graphic that MSG was sold out at almost 20,000 capacity. And every player's dream, right, to play in Madison Square Garden. And a lot of players, even Kobe said that Madison Square Garden is always booming, right? But man, oh man, I want to talk about three players in the Knicks, especially, right? It's first of all, it's RJ Barrett. RJ Barrett, man, he was attacking the rim like anything last night. He was not settling for anything. He was not going for any spin away middies or any dumb shots at all. He was just attacking the basket, relentless as hell, got to the free throw line, got 26 points. Very efficient, and that's all you want from RJ, right? He's an athletic wing. He's gonna go get to the basket easily. He's gonna gather those fouls, and that's all that you want. The second player I want to talk about, actually, I want to talk about him later. So the second player I'm going to talk about is Josh Hart, who I actually tweeted out is the best role player in the league. By the way, guys, if you haven't followed us on Twitter, go on Twitter, follow NBA average fans for sure. But at the same point, at the same point in time, at the same point in time, the thing is that. The thing is that the one player that I had a lot of expectations from, but at the same point of time did not do anything was Julius Randle. He had Darius Garland on the switch, just passes the ball away. He had Donovan Mitchell on the switch, just takes the easy three. And it was a real snooze fest. And actually, I think he only played 27 minutes. He did not play. I think he played like a minute in the fourth quarter. And that's what made it even better that you have probably Julius Randle had one of his best seasons, right? Right after the poor performance last season, rejuvenated. Tom Thibodeau really likes him. He likes playing him 42 minutes a game, and still having him play having him play 1/3 less time than he usually plays, and getting the win easily in the fourth quarter. It must make the Knicks really happy, and it must make the Knicks really proud to not only get this win, but get a 3-1 deficit over the Cavs, and they're probably going to round 2, where now they're not facing the Bucks probably, but they're facing the Heat, and that could be a really tough matchup. That could be one
Imagine the
matchup.
defense versus that defense.
Like,
Oh,
Jimmy Butler was Julius Randle, and like Kyle Lowry taking charges was Jalen Brunson taking every midi possible. Man, oh man, that's gonna be
that's gonna be tough. That's gonna be amazing series if that happens, man.
man. But talking about fire, I hate to end at this, but the last series is a complete snoozer, guys. It's Bucks. It's not Bucks. It's actually Celtics versus Hawks, and Celtics take game 4 as well. They took home court, but they took away court too with it. And actually, DeJounte Murray, guys, he got a technical foul at the game itself for going up and almost headbutting, but getting in the face of the referee. I don't remember the referee who it was. It wasn't Scott Foster for sure, but but it doesn't make sense, right? You're going down. You're already 3-1. Your home fans are booing you at this point of time, and now you get suspended for a game. And without DeJounte Murray, Srijan, do you think any chance for the Hawks to even extend this lead?
I don't think so. Hawks have any chance to extend this particular lead because they had a lot of things riding on him, and as well as Trae Young. But Trae Young has been below par, below average this particular series. I think so. Trae Young needs to step on the gas pedal, but I think so it's too late. Boston being
Yeah.
Boston have been dominant the whole season, and they're dominating this series as well. I don't think so. The Boston Celtics will give them another game to let them come back in this particular series. I think so. The series is done and dusted, considering how amazingly Celtics is playing, and Celtics is being one of the teams who are touted to win the Champions League, win the championship this season as well. So I think so that Atlanta Hawks do not stand a chance with the kind of team that they have with Trae Young, their star power not showing or not firing up at all, being below average for this particular series. I mean, it's expected a lot of things from him. I mean, teams like Atlanta Hawks and others teams who are not do not have 5 players on their team who could probably score at the best, rely a lot on their star power, and that not performing and not giving them the returns that they wanted. I think so. He's a bit overrated, in my opinion, and that clearly shows from his performance in the games that have mattered the most. And he's been good in the games which haven't mattered a lot, but in the games that have mattered, he's been below average. And I think so. It's a the Boston Celtics have
It's a
taken
wrap.
out the groom to just and I think so. Atlanta Hawks will just sweep it under the carpet and then probably think about what they want to do next season. That's what they should.
So
Makes
That's
sense
Srijan,
that there's so many F3 young giants right now in New York.
so
absolutely.
Srijan, are you saying no, no for the
Nah,
Hawks?
nah, 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 nah.
Yeah, I think the Celtics have the Hawks beat. We never really expected them to make this a series. They won one, but I didn't really think they were gonna win another. Just because I felt like the Hawks don't have the offense, don't have the defense to match the Celtics, and I think this series is a wrap. I don't think I have anything else to add to what Srijan said. Dejante is going to be out. Trey has been very so, like the both of you have already mentioned. The one thing that I probably would want to mention is that DeAndre Hunter had a really good game, although it was in a losing cause. He had 27 on 11 of 17, and he was good from the three, and that's probably another contribution that they were wanting. But yeah, to be short, it's over.
For sure. I mean, there were a lot of plays here and there. Jays had a good drive. D-Rob looks like he is bad. And obviously Derek White, Marcus Smart going off. Trae Young had a box score. He filled up the stat sheet, but he did not look at all good. And overall, just a snooze fest. I think we all expected this. But right before we end, I think let's quickly get our future predictions in and let's see what we are expecting. So we go in order of 1 to 8 seed, right? So the first seed is the Nuggets, right? We go west to east. So Nuggets versus Timberwolves, guys. One word, what do you think? How many games more?
Oof.
I think so. It's done.
Oh, you think it's
Nugget-
done?
Nuggets versus Timberwolves is done. I think so. Nuggets will take it back home next year, next game. I think so. It's done. It's game in 5.
Um, I, I think I agree. I think we've seen all the fight the Timberwolves have had, and I think they take it. As good as Ant has been, he's almost like a mini Jimmy Butler right now. He's doing it all for Minnesota, offensively, even getting rebounds and everything. But I think it's done.
Perfect. I think home court advantage, Nuggets is going to take it, right? 2 and 7, which is Grizzlies Lakers, guys. How many games?
I think so. It's
Uh,
Lakers. Lakers in
obviously,
5. Lakers in 5.
Lakers in 5.
I think so. They've got the rhythm that they wanted. They are playing really well. I don't think so. They stand on the chance. I think so. Lakers will get them in 5. I think so. They have to shut down the beam that they had lit up after the first 2 games.
Oh, I think you're shading the other series, but for me, I think the Lakers drop 1 and they take Grizzlies in 6. I think.
And I'm going to stick with my prediction, guys. Grizzlies could get Harden. They could get a pardon from Lakers. They could get a pardon from Dylan Brooks. Or they could go and get a guy. Lakers in 5. Guys, let's jump to the 3-6 matchup. We haven't talked about this today at all, but another crazy series. Clips for the Suns. Quickly, let's go. Srijan, what do you think? Clips
I think so.
losing 3-1 right now.
Like I told you, I think so. Clippers are done for not having PG, not having Kawhi. They do not have their offensive production at all. I think so. It's going to be the Suns taking it home in the next game.
Yeah, I think I also agree. Without Kawhi, they don't stand a chance. As good as Russ has been, and I love it for him that he was dogged like for all his stint in the Lakers, and even in the past he wasn't having the best of his seasons, but the Clippers really maximized him. But against the Suns, when you have the big three and as focused as Booker has been, I don't think they have a chance without Kawhi and PG.
All right, and I'll stick with my prediction. I said Suns in 7. I think Clips are taking 2 games, and still it's going to be Suns in 7. So let's quickly go to the East once again. Bucks versus Heat. 3-1. Bucks are losing right now. Srijan, what do you think?
I think so. It will be Heat in 7. I think so. They'll.
Oh.
I mean, I think so. The Bucks will come in. But I mean, they have. They have the star power back in the season. I think so. He will try to do something. Pull off a couple of games. I mean, this game also. They also already almost had it in the kitty, and I think so. This was done for. I think so. They'll come back for 2 games, and I think so. But I think so. Heat will pull back in 7.
I think the Heat take it in 6.
And I,
Handle
I'm gonna
business at home.
I'm gonna jump on my prediction. I think the Heat are going to take it in 6-2. 2 versus 7, which was the Hawks and Celtics, guys. 3-1 Celtics leading. What do you think?
No. Celtics in 5? 4? I don't know. 5. My bad.
Celtics in 5 for sure.
Celtics
Same.
in 5. Sure. Celtics are in 5. 3-6, which is the Knicks. Also, Knicks versus Cavs. What am I talking about?
Kings
It
versus
is-
Warriors.
It's actually 76ers who've already gone ahead with it. I think we'll talk about it later. So 4 versus 5,
Yeah,
Knicks versus Cavs.
and I think. Okay, you're talking about the East. Yeah, Cavs in 5 or 6 at best.
I think so. It will be Knicks. Knicks in 7.
Knicks in 7. So all right. And oh, my bad. I actually forgot about Sacramento versus Golden State.
Kings
Right?
versus
Yeah, I
Warriors.
think that's what Srijan was alluding to back then.
Oh, right. My
Um,
bad. My bad. Guys, quickly. Warriors versus Kings. 2
you
all
already
series.
know. Warriors
I think
in
so.
6.
It's a Warriors will get it in 6. Warriors in
And
7 actually. Warriors
I
not in
say-
6.
I still stand with my prediction. It's Kings in 6. And
Whoa.
last of all, 76ers, who are the 3rd seed, have the reigning MVP right now. Who do you think? They're the 4-5, right? Who do you think they're looking forward for? The Heat or the? No, sorry, they're going to play the 2-7. So Celtics and Hawks. So what do you think about that matchup? Celtics versus 76ers. Let's give a future prediction as well.
Oof, I think that's going to be a big slugfest because both of those teams again match up really well. They both have big guys. They have Rob Williams to match up against Embiid. But as we know, Embiid has been giving everybody in the league the business. But I think for sure that has the makeup for a 7-game series for me as well. I think that goes along with Embiid, with the Celtics having their own firepower. I think that's a big series.
I think so. Yeah, it will go in game 7 for sure. But I think so. The Celtics might edge over 76ers to bring it home. I'm predicting Celtics to bring in the championship home as well. So that's why I'm going all in with Celtics.
And
All
I know
right.
I know I'm gonna regret this for sure, but I'm gonna say 76ers in 6.
All right. Thank you so much, Angad. Thank you so much for staying with us and watching this podcast if you are on YouTube, and listening to us if you're on Apple Podcast or any other podcast platform. It was great having a conversation with these two again. Stay tuned for a lot more podcast content and a lot of content on YouTube as well. If you haven't watched our videos on YouTube and you wasn't listening to us on Apple Podcast, go ahead and watch on YouTube if you're free and if you have a lot of time but you cannot view the podcast as a whole. So go ahead and listen to it on Apple Podcast. But yeah, thank you so much for staying with us. Have a great night. Peace. Lakers in 5.
Like the blank.